Hey there, Joe Cox here with getting you through this narcissistic world. So, as usual, we're down here burning some more. It just gives me a time of serenity to hopefully I can make better videos for you guys. I really want to make high quality videos to help you guys, um, get through the life and get the most out of your life, to be able to live the life you're designed to live. You were born the perfect you, and your goal is to live your best life, become the best you. So let's talk about something today. And this plays a major role in how we live our life. So if we were to come up in a stable family, yeah, things happen. But the question is, does life work for you or does it work against you? For years, I just thought life was pure hell because all these bad things would happen to me. I would have just stuff out of the blue fall through. Just crazy stuff. I'd always fail. I'm never able to finish anything. Um, I've told you about the musical instruments. And it wasn't. What the benefit was is when I got into real life and my parents weren't involved. Within 5 years, because I was so used to everything working against me, when they got out of my life, I went from a negative net worth to worth over $1 million in 5 years. You're like, Joe, how does that happen? Well, a couple of things. One, I learned to believe in myself. Two, I learned that life does not work against us. Life does not happen to us, it actually happens for us. Let me explain. So I'm talking a little bit about from the book today. So what we want to make sure is when we think about life, think about all the decisions we make. When we make a decision, are we making that decision from a clear and balanced mind? Are we whole when we make a decision? Is there a narcissist involved in helping you make that decision? I was actually set up to go to college, already registered, and my mother taught me into doing something else that basically beat me out of my college money. After she told me I was too stupid to go to college anyway. And I'll tell you that story that's a whole video in itself. But the bottom line is I look back and it broke my spirit so much that I really crumbled. And throughout my life, I've almost taken my life several times. But I managed to struggle through a moment, get back on my feet. And it's like every time I fell, my parents were behind it. And I always thought that life was so bad, so bad, so bad, because only time I ever fell hard was after I allowed them back into my life. It is the most bizarre thing. So I look back and all the times, like since I reconnected with my wife, since me and my father, he pulled his stunt about 10, 12 years ago. I left. I had to start all over again. Um, and I told you, I think, that story in another one where he basically changed the deed on my house. So I basically, it cost me a house, plus I had a home-based business, so it cost me my business. I mean, the mind F that it did to me just messed me up really bad. And that's when I really went into the dark night of the soul, man. It really took a toll on me. I can't believe I made it through. But you know what? I tell the story in the book of what happened, of what changed my mind. And things happen. It's those little things of people reaching out that can change your whole direction in life. Just a little kindness to somebody else can make all the difference in the world. So what happened is when I started coming back around and started figuring out, okay, that's when I opened the shelter for the homeless, or thrift store for the homeless to help feed, give them tents. We gave them food, whatever they needed, clothes, whatever they needed, we gave it to them. And it's so funny because we were the only one in town that did that. All the other big name thrift stores, they wouldn't give them anything. It was bizarre, but I'm not going to name any names, but you probably know who they are here in the U.S. But what's so interesting, it was right after I opened the store. It was right before that is when I got with my seventh therapist. I realized that all my brokenness or feeling of brokenness was not in my mind or my body, it was in my spirit. My spirit had been broken. Let's talk briefly about that, because I'm going to go in a whole other video on just the spirit, because what I want to make sure you understand is, where does the spirit play a role in your life? You know, back in high school, we used to go to pep rallies, and we would talk about, you got spirit, you know, get the school spirit, that sort of thing. And all this good energy would come out. And everybody would be psyched up, ready to go, and rah-rah. And I remember that kind of stuff and how it would kind of brought people together. And I thought to myself, I'm like, how does that play a role in our spirit as we go through life? So, question. Think about this. You can break a spirit, but you can't lose a spirit. You can lose a soul, but you can't break a soul. Think about that for a minute. So I even thought about it like, for instance, a horse, for instance. When they go and they break a horse, they're breaking the spirit of the horse, right? But the difference is that when you break a horse, you're taming it so it can be loved and cared for, so you can ride it, so it can be good. Think about when we're born into this life as a child, you've got to be tamed to a certain amount. If you never have any rules, I know some kids that had that happen, to where they never had any rules and their whole life was crazy. It was very chaotic. You've got to have structure. So that's basically what you're doing with the breaking a horse. You're breaking the spirit to give it structure, so it can be fed and be loved and cared for. Okay, isn't that kind of similar to what we are when we're growing up? Our parents are supposed to tame us to make sure that we're not hellions, you know, wild asses. We got to have structure in our life. But the problem with a narcissist, they break the spirit to take the spirit away from you. Wonder if you had a horse that you broke it, but then you kept beating it down, telling it it was a piece of crap, it will never amount to anything, it will, you know, and just set it out, you know, into a stall and never give it love, feed it every now and then, not on a regular basis. What do you think is going to happen to that horse? You slowly lose your will for life, is what happens. So what I realized in my life is these attacks from my parents and exes and siblings, the whole works, from narcissistic people, that's why we call them energy vampires. They suck the life out of you. And I want to make it clear, you never have an obligation to anybody. I don't care if it's an elderly, narcissistic parent. They start abusing you, leave. Nobody has a right. Nobody has a right. Let me say it again. Nobody has a right to manipulate you or abuse you. Period. I don't care who it is. Child, spouse, somebody you're dating. I remember those days. I remember being with somebody and just being twisted. Why am I even here? Why am I with this person? Feeling an obligation, feeling guilt, shame, whatever, fear of being alone. All these emotions and feelings. So what we want to do is we want to make sure that you know what amazing human being you are. We want to make sure that you understand what is guiding your life. So I found for me that once I started taking care of my spirit self, my mind and my body began to heal itself. Once I understand how my spirit was so damaged from the parents that were supposed to help me along, instead, they had broken my spirit, not just once, not just twice, over and over, each one of them. And then they got my siblings in on it too. Today, my wife is amazing. I've told you much about that, and y'all have met her. She is my angel. She helped me to understand that when you're with the right person and when you have proper goals and all, everything happens. And in the book, I tell you how fast I went and how my business just took off within 2 years of me getting back into real estate. And I was the top selling agent in the office after 18 months being there. Broke all records in the office. So what the point of the book is about is going back of finding your balance, your wholeness, becoming whole. Being whole is being your authentic self, feeling whole, not feeling fragmented, not feeling broken, not feeling like something is missing in your life. When you're whole, you get it. You can make clear, precise decisions. You can always make the most beneficial decision in your life. And I talk about it in the book, the internal guidance system. What guides your life? You have it built into you. All these videos I've seen other people do, like connecting to your intuition, when you're in touch with who you are, your intuition's always there. It's always ready. You don't have to connect to it or anything. This whole idea of, oh, I've got to sit here and meditate and get connected to yeah, you can meditate and get your connection higher, but by the way you live, if you live a high consciousness, it's there at every time. Because think about this. The reason I know it is this is why. If you get into a situation and all of a sudden you have a bad gut feeling, what is that? Where is that coming from? Where is that gut feeling coming from? Is that what your gut is made for? When you just feel uneasy about something, something's creepy, what are you picking up on? Did you sit there and say, hey, let me connect to my intuition and see how I feel about this? No, it's always on. Your level of awareness is what makes it more sensitive to guide you. Your consciousness. The more you raise your consciousness, it's always there. Your intuition is your guide. It is the source that has been given to you to help guide you on everything in life once you understand it. This is to help you understand that life does not happen to you. It happens for you. That's why everything in life is a lesson and everyone is your teacher. My goal through all these videos in the book is to explain to you in a way you probably never had it explained. You've gotten pieces of the puzzle, but trying to put the right pieces together and understand that, or trying to connect the dots to life, it's unless you have somebody to sit there and guide you that has the wisdom. I see so many people now regretting decisions in their 40s, 50s, 60s because they didn't have the proper guidance. And the whole idea is that we're supposed to be, the older people are supposed to be guiding the younger people and how to live their life before they get into life and start making all the bad decisions. And now you got to do damage control for your life. Life should never be damage control. You only have damage control when we make bad decisions. And believe me, I've had to do so much damage control of just trying to save myself from my own parents. I know every time I go and do something, I had the fear of failure, because not because I thought that I might fail, because I know if I failed, my parents would be pleased. I knew that if I failed, they would sit back and laugh at me if it got back to them. That's sad. So this is what I did. In order to make sure I never felt like I was afraid of failure, I took failure out of my vocabulary. I may make a mistake. Failure is more like an end result. Like you tried something, you failed at it, now you can't go back and fix it. Whereas I make a mistake, it's just keep going. Make a mistake, make a mistake. I mean, life is on-the-job training. You make mistakes all the time. But for some reason, we go through school with this pass or fail type thing. We've got to get a grade on it. We're not taught that, hey, it's okay to make a mistake. This whole idea of failing really keeps a lot of us down. On the other side, the same way success. I got to 35 years old, 36 years old, and I was a self-made millionaire. I was the definition of success. I was the definition of success by any means that we look at today's society. I owned 28 rental properties. I was making $200,000 a year. This is 25, we're going on 25 years ago. That was a lot of money during that time. But I was just felt so broken inside. And when I tried to reconnect with my mother, she wrote me a 3-page letter saying how worthless I was. All I was is greedy. I was selfish. I would never be anything. She couldn't even imagine when I was still breathing. I went from working 12 hours a day, 6 days a week, with excitement, to not being able to get out of my recliner. It broke my spirit like that. I didn't know that's what it was at the time. I can look back and know what it did. I was in no relationship. I was single. I was trying to, I was looking for connection. I was looking for validation. I'd always felt like all growing up that maybe I was worthless. She gave me that letter, just confirmed. At 35 years old, I was still seeking approval from my own parent. And then afterwards, I was like, why am I still seeking that? I was questioning it, but in my soul, in my spirit was just, I couldn't pull it back out. And I just started crumbling. No one, not one person in my family or friends said, hey, are you okay? Something doesn't seem right. Family was there when I was tumbling down to make sure they scarfed up my house, though. It's sad. It's so sad that we have people in this earth that find it a success to them, or find that being a success in their life is to take from their own child, to break their own child. You can define that whatever way you want it. I'm just saying in general, I don't know how they interpret it, but to think, I couldn't imagine hurting my child in any way. I don't actually have a biological child, but even my stepchildren, which I consider them like mine anyway. How does an adult, a human being, period, but especially an adult, to their own child, want to break the spirit of that child? Not be, I just, it's not me. Have you ever felt like you were born in the wrong family? I have. I've wondered it my whole life. I'm like, none of these people are like me. I don't think the same. Didn't realize that's what caused me to be the black sheep and the scapegoat. Today I'm a proud scapegoat. I'm like, I would rather be the scapegoat than turn out like them. A lot of this is just to help give you validation, to help you understand that growing up in a family with even one member that's narcissistic can be hell because it can manipulate all the other people. But I had them all around me, and I didn't know there was that many on this earth. They were everywhere. So I'm slowly trying to put all the pieces together for you to help you understand whatever situation you came from, so you can put your pieces together in life. All of us come from different situations, but I think a lot of the emotions, pain, and feelings are very similar. Hopefully this video is going to help you out. I really want to thank everybody again for their amazing comments. But understand, you're an amazing human being. I want you to thrive. I want you to thrive, but yet my own parent didn't want me to thrive. That's what's mind-boggling. I love to see other people thrive in life. I love everybody. So I'll tell you this one last story, and I probably need to go stoke the fire again. My brother, my father actually told him to just, don't worry. He was, I think they call it infantilism or something like that. They basically encourage him not to do anything. So they encouraged him. He just kind of bounced from job to job. I think he was 28, 29. He was living with my father, him and my youngest brother at the time. So this is, yeah, around 26. I'm trying to think back about how old he was. So he's 26, 27, 28, something like that. And I told him to come here, stay with me. He could stay here in Georgia with me. They were living in Alabama. And I would help him, find a job. He could go to school. We had a technical college up street. And I'm in real estate. And after he stayed with me a while, I said, why don't you get in sales? I basically helped him get his license. I gave him clients and let him stay with me at no cost, that sort of thing. This is the very brother today that has betrayed my trust. He he was a trustee. He's a state licensed real estate agent, so he is regulated by the real estate commission. So I put him as the trustee on my house. Didn't realize in a second that they would come together, and my brother's now going to inherit my house after it's taken away. But anyway, bottom line is, how in the world am I supposed to interpret that? How in the world is it that I can help him become very successful? He's got a sales job now, and they wouldn't have hired him unless he's not doing real estate, I don't think, full time, but he's doing very well, got his own house, and that sort of thing. But yet he wants to take mine now after I let him live with me for years for free. Never charged him a dime for rent. He never paid me a dime. but yet he takes my house and can justify that. It is what it is. You got to understand, when they do that, forgiving them turns over all the negative karma. I've handed it all back to him. But I do realize that when people do that, they place a curse upon themselves. So whenever you feel betrayed, don't worry about it, because they don't get off scot-free. They don't walk away without repercussions. You may not see it, but they've got it. They've got the negative karma. And it's a shame, because part of that is the sins of the father. We'll talk about that more in another video. But he's got a daughter, and my feeling is that's going to come back down the line, because I see all the things my father did and how it placed a curse upon us. Today I've got into energy healing. We'll talk a little bit about that on another video. And I've removed all the curses. And unless you understand, I received curses back from my father, and we can have those basically inherited. So the whole idea on the soul too is, if you feel like you're struggling, this is a whole nother topic, but I'm going to do a video on it. But understanding that helping to balance the soul is, in the spirit, is getting rid of all that toxic energy. We have cords, we have curses, we have, people can be possessed, and all different kinds of stuff. Once you understand, this is another reason why you can look at me and my wife and say, hey, they're a happy couple, because we've gotten rid of all this crap. We have gotten rid of all that unseen toxic energy. So when I'm talking about stuff, I'm not talking about just what we have control of as far as on a day-to-day. I'm talking about removing that energy, that unseen energy and cords that we have that has attached to us from toxic people. Have you ever seen somebody that keeps going back to a toxic relationship, break up, keep going back? Those are cords. Those are cords pulling them back. We had an experience with a family member that did that. Kept doing it. We learned about the cords. We cut the cords, the unseen spiritual cords. She never went back after that. This stuff works. This stuff is powerful, and it will change your life like you would not believe. Let me know if you're interested in it. If so, I'll do a full video and go into a lot of this energy healing. That I'm a certified practitioner in several things, in dowsing as well as emotion code, that sort of thing. But let me know what you think, or how you feel about what I've said today. If you think I've said a few words that might help you out. I can talk and talk about so many different facets and how I connected the dots and how I understand life now. If I had everything in my head now, in my 18-year-old body, life would have been very simple. That's why I named it the book, Life Made Simple, Secrets to Wealth and Happiness Hidden in Plain Sight. Game changer on your life, once you understand it. For today, I give gratitude for you, and I offer you blessings and healing. Please reach out with any question and any way I can help you. Be glad to help direct you in any way. From Life Made Simple, getting you through this narcissistic world. Like and subscribe if you've liked this video. From my heart to yours, I wish you nothing but blessings. Bye-bye.